This is the More to Life Than Money podcast. Real people, real stories, real conversations about wealth and abundance with your host, J.W. Rayhans.
Well, welcome everyone back to the More to Life Than Money podcast. And today we have a couple who are very special guests for us today. In fact, in most accounts, in many areas of life, you would probably say this couple is ultra successful in any of these different given areas. And so Paul and Nancy, I just want to say it is exciting for us to be able to have this conversation, just another casual conversation for us to really visit about what has life been like. Because as I mentioned, I think most people would probably look at your life now and go, you guys have an amazing life. I mean, you have a marriage for 38 years, you have 3 grown kids, you have 5 grandkids, you're financially stable, you can kind of choose how you want to spend your time, and you are healthy, and everybody could look at that and go, they have got it made. Life must be just so easy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's been easy the whole ride, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we could just stop the conversation now. Everybody just know, if you want an easy life, look at Paul and Nancy. They've had an easy life the whole way, but we actually know that's not true, don't we?
We do know the truth.
And so I'm just excited for you to be able to share and just kind of candidly share what his life looked like, because there's going to be so many things that any of us will be able to relate to in your story. And for all of the people listening, when they think they're in a unique circumstance or they're a unique challenge or something that no one else has ever been through, there's very many aspects of your story. I think they're going to listen and go, they get it. They understand me. They know where I'm at. And so your story is inspirational. And I'm looking forward to what we get to visit about today. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I think so.
I think we're ready.
Yeah, good. We had an opportunity to visit not long ago, and you did share with me that life has had some challenges. So I know that we're going to get into some of that, and you've also had a military career as well, and so thank you for that. That means that your whole family has had a military career, and know exactly what that means. And especially, at least on the day that we're recording, that has special significance, because even though all of you that are listening, you're going to be listening to this at a different time, but I do want to share with you authentically, we're actually recording this the day before Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so in a way of utilizing that as an opportunity to say, hey, thank you. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So let's start with this. I want to begin with this question.
Okay.
And it's, if you were able to, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do this. So, Paul, if you looked at Nancy and you were willing to acknowledge some of the amazing things you see in her, what would you share? And then Nancy, I'm going to provide you the same opportunity to say what some of the amazing things are that you see in Paul. And that's where I'd love for us to start our conversation. So which one of you wants to go first to brag on the other person?
I'll go first.
Okay. All right. Paul, what are some of the amazing things that you would say to Nancy that you see in her?
Well, I mean, I don't know that this 45 minutes is going to encapsulate it all, but from the moment I met her at Williams Air Force Base right here in Arizona, I was kind of drawn to obviously the physical aspect. I see this lady in red and big blonde hair, and sitting all
80s.
alone, Farrah Fawcett wings, and I mean. Obviously, I made my move, and we started talking, and but beyond that, I think we mentioned that we started dating. I remember our first date. She arranged it, and it was a horse carriage ride in Scottsdale.
Nice.
And so I knew at that point that this was somebody different than some of the girls that I had dated prior to that.
Yeah.
But our family came quick with our first son, Corey. And then, of course, the others, 5 years apart, basically. But through it all, I'd say, Nancy for sure was, I don't want to say the glue that held us together, but she was the glue. She was always the stable one, the one that, had a plan.
Yeah.
Me, not so much.
Yeah.
To this day, she says, you act like you're 12.
Yeah.
In a good way.
But so we both played our roles. I think we played them very well, raising our kids. We both shared the load for sure. We can get into that
Yeah, we
as
will.
we go. But, that just her ability to just pull together the family, even the distant family that wasn't so connected to us. I mean, that was always her objective, was to bring us together as a family and to continue that family traditions, things like that, knowing that, we'd someday be grandparents. And, that she says it jokingly, maybe not, you just show up.
Yeah.
And I do. But, that would be her biggest strength, is just the fact that she's always been the strength of the family in terms of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Nancy, how about you? What are some of the great things that you would share about Paul?
He is definitely a hard worker. Always the one that we tease our kids, still our daughters especially, they're like, who you going to call? Like, even though they're married, they still call their dad because they know that their dad will show up for things, fixing their car. He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So they can call him for anything. And he's very self-reflective. Definitely like ways to improve, which, sometimes it's easy to think, your spouse needs to improve, you don't. And I have been guilty of that. Like, I haven't done anything wrong, but he's usually the first one that will reflect and apologize first a lot of the times, which I really appreciate. in him.
Yeah.
It's pulled us through some hard times.
That's outstanding. Thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start here because life has had its challenges along the way for you, and you talk openly about that now because you see how it can help others.
Right.
And I've had the opportunity to see your heart in that, of realizing this can help other people. Let me ask this. We're going to go back in time a little bit. Even prior to when you were in the Air Force. But think about, what childhood story would you share that really led you to have the value system that you have today? And that might be unique for each one of you. So you can even share this individually if you'd like, of what's a childhood story you would share that really kind of emulates, this is what helped shape some of the values that I have even to this day.
Go first.
I'll go first. Well, I was the youngest of 7, and there was a lot of tragedy, like in our family. So my mom lost one of her daughters at the age of 8. She was hit by a car. So I never met that. She was like a lot older.
Yeah.
So I never had a chance to meet her. But then my sister closest to me, who was 12 at the time, so I was in first grade, she passed away from cancer.
Wow.
And then when I was 12 years old, my father passed away from cancer.
goodness.
So a lot of tragedy, but I think looking back, even though it wasn't a great time, it definitely shaped who I am today. I think I have much more, I'm empathetic.
Yeah.
I'm able to kind of know that even if someone is okay on the outside, they're not usually likely okay on the inside. Everybody has their struggles, whether they share them or not.
Yeah, like there's more there.
There's more there,
Yeah.
definitely. And a lot of it, I never really dealt with it or really thought about it until I was an adult,
Oh, really? Okay.
and then started thinking how did this, because it makes you a people pleaser too. I was 12 years old and I didn't want to rock the boat doing anything,
Sure.
which is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing too.
Almost like you were seeking stability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By not
definitely.
rocking the boat.
Yeah. By not rocking the boat.
Yeah.
So, and it's probably very similar to thousands of kids that go through divorce, separations, losing parents, so it makes you be able to relate to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. When you mentioned that moment as an adult, of kind of realizing how this was influencing your life, what are some of the things that came up for you that you found helpful to then go, is this the way I want it to continue?
Actually, kind of our marriage difficulties.
Okay.
That's kind of where, going to counseling for the first time. asking, like, well, what did you contribute to these problems? And I was like, well, nothing. I'm pretty like level-headed. I kept the family together. I did every holiday, going through all the things that I did.
Yeah.
But what I didn't want to rock the boat in our marriage. So everything was like, okay, yeah. I didn't want to say, I was just, you hold everything in until you can't hold everything in.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate you sharing that because I would imagine there's a lot of people that are listening that are in a similar position where maybe they haven't said what they truly feel or they haven't voiced what's been going on in their head for the same reasons, right? They don't want to rock the boat or they don't want to take the risk and so it's possible even just through you sharing that right there, somebody listening is going, you know what, today's going to be the day I'm just going to say something. I'm just going to say what I've been feeling. And imagine what that will do for them when they do.
And it's better to do it sooner rather than later. That's what the counselor goes, you should have said this, years. You've been married how many years?
Yeah.
And you're just now speaking up.
Yeah. And see what's great about that. That's a principle that can be applied in multiple different areas of life. Somebody could be listening to this and going, you know what, I need to do that with my leader at work. Yeah. Or I need to do that with my spouse. Or maybe I need to do that with one of my kids or one of my family members or a close friend. Or somehow they can apply it in multiple different areas. It could even be with their health. That they're thinking, absolutely. You know what, I haven't been to the doctor in a while and I need to go get that checked out. I need to go say something. I need to go do something about it. So thanks for highlighting that. Yeah. What's a childhood story that you think about that really has helped kind of shape your value system to where you are today?
Pretty easy.
All right, let's hear it.
So I came from family of three. I was the oldest.
Okay.
My brother was only about a year and a half younger, and sister was about probably 2.5 years younger. Parents divorced at 12, but prior to that, there was a lot of violence.
Okay.
My dad never laid a hand on us, ironically, but he beat my mom pretty bad.
Wow.
A lot of police action at the house, guns drawn. We saw that growing up. And when he finally left the house, I realized that I was the oldest, at 12, and I had to help my mom.
Okay.
My mom was working 2 jobs to, sustain us. And it just sort of, there was no question for me. It was just, I'm going to do this.
This is what needed to be done.
Yeah, because we were alone pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Had no father figure, and I had to figure out things on my own.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, there was sports. I was very into sports, football and track and things like that. So I would say, the coaches that came alongside me were the ones that were, my father figures.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I just took it from there, and just ran with it.
You had to figure it out.
Yeah, I just did. Helped as best I could. Obviously, I didn't have all the, the information to help my mom the way she needed to be helped, but I helped as best I could.
Yeah.
To the point of, when I turned 18, true story, my friend and I were playing pool at one of the bowling alleys, and we looked at each other knowing that our parents weren't going to put us through college or even think about it. So we're just looking, what are we going to do? And we said, let's go look at the military. So we did. We joined the military that day.
So you're shooting pool and you're like, let's go check out the military.
Yeah. So, and then 25 years later, I made it a career. And, obviously throughout the military career and just knowing that I've always had sort of a personality, and I'm hungry to go do things and learn things, so it just sort of worked.
Yeah.
So a lot of similarities though. When she goes back to like when we met, she obviously had a lot of tragedy that was a little bit different than mine, but nonetheless it was tragedy.
Yeah.
And I had that as well. And when we found each other, we just sort of masked all the we obviously pushed all that to the back because we wanted each other to see the best of each other.
Yeah.
And then as she said, for years and years and years, as things change with children and bills and mortgages and responsibilities, we never dealt with that. Not the way we should have.
We were young.
Yeah.
I was 29 years old with 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot.
That is a lot.
Fast forward to the counselor. We tried. So I come from a Lutheran background. You know, I've always had religion, but never. I wouldn't say I was like completely religious necessarily.
Yeah.
Totally believe that, you know, there's only one God, the Father, that kind of thing. But same with Nancy. But I think when we tried the Christian counselors, they always, you know, wanted to do the Bible verses, things like that, which we weren't opposed to, but they weren't really getting at the root of kind of, you know, the stuff behind that was driving the behavior.
Okay.
The tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To really address that.
And we found, fortunately, and
Yeah,
you know,
she was amazing.
this one
Who dug
counselor.
deep.
What's that?
I said she dug deep.
Yep, she dug very deep.
Yeah.
And, you know, me being an A personality, you know, I kind of resisted it, and I had that thought that, you know, she's all for her because she's a woman and she's a woman, and you know, I kind of arrogance.
Yeah.
It's like an arrogance.
Yeah.
But after we started having one-on-ones, her and I, the counselor, I started to realize that, you know, this isn't her issue, it's my issue. And that was the turning point.
Yeah. Can I mention something about what you both are acknowledging here? And it's this. You know, a lot of times when we view success, when we view achievement, when we view wealth, when we view whatever that definition of where we want to be is, we don't always acknowledge the amount of work and effort it's going to take to get there. And both of you in your own way have really acknowledged this self-awareness. You mentioned digging deeper than your comfort level, and really having someone to help you do that. Because as a couple, you weren't really getting there on your own, but it was someone else being willing to rock the boat, to dig deep, to ask hard
100%.
questions, to not let you off the hook. When you acknowledge what that has meant in your life now, what would you encourage people with when they don't want to do that? They don't want to dig deep. They want to leave the past in the past, let's say. What encouragement would you give them to the benefits of not ignoring the past, to acknowledging the past, and then using it as some way to equip your future? What would you share with them? What's the benefits of doing that? Because I think a lot of people, myself included at times, there's times where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to leave the past in the past. And that's a common way of thinking. What encouragement would you give someone to go, you know what, there's more to it?
Well, I think with us, and I'm speaking for you, but I think he took it as a weakness. Like he never thought that the abuse that he experienced, or even like visualized his
like witnessed.
dad, witnessed, that it affected him, you know?
Right.
And so he thought he had dealt with it.
Yeah. Almost like it
Not
wasn't
really.
done to me, so it didn't impact me kind of thing?
Right.
Okay.
Well, and just, I mean, I think, and I'm
Well,
just
it
speaking
was-
for you, had a lot of pent up anger,
Yeah.
you know, and frustrations that would come out. He was never physical or anything like that with our family, but verbally, because he would just didn't know how to channel that anger
Yeah.
or different ways to go about it.
But the part that you mentioned, so the like going deep part was viewed as weakness almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's not, and I mean, it takes a lot of strength
It does,
to do
doesn't
that.
it?
It's a
Yeah.
lot harder than just bearing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, in addition to that, I remember once the counselor said to me, she said, in one of our just her and I sessions, she said something to me that just stuck. She said, you know, I know you're trying hard. I think Nancy knows you're trying hard to put this back together. But you have to kind of, I mean, that's great, but you also have to realize you have to deal with the stuff that you've never dealt with. Because she was blatantly honest. She said, you can do all of this goodness, all these things, the counseling, all that, and she just might have been, you know, she may be at the point where she just can't reconnect.
Yeah.
Because she once told me, she said, you're dead to me. You know, I feel like I'm a rose and I've died and you can't bring that back. But that wasn't going to stop me. And when she said that, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, that was another big turning point in the counseling. Because she said, if you just get angry because she's not, you know, this isn't working and it doesn't bring you back together. She goes, this isn't for her. This is for you at this point, because you're never going to have a normal relationship with anybody.
Wow.
And I took that to heart. I was like,
I bet.
and that meant, for me, that meant my kids, that meant my friends, that meant anybody that was, close to me.
Yeah.
If I wasn't, because I'd always have my issues that were more important than their issues.
Yeah. You can continue to do all these great things. You continue to do all these good things, but they're not going to really allow you to have the relationships that you want if you don't finally work on this other thing.
Yeah.
Right. 100%.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you can continue to do these great things, and yet you still could produce even more good if you're willing to go back and really address that hurt that's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, and you're, not to talk badly about anybody that has been through a number of marriages, but until you do that work, I think relationship to relationship to relationship, you're going to bring that same old baggage with you.
That's right. I
and
once heard somebody say, you bring you with you no matter what.
No matter what.
You can change who you're in a relationship with, but you're still bringing you with you.
You're still bringing it.
Yeah.
And two, I think with us, is everything 100% perfect all of the time? Absolutely not. We still have struggles. But two, I think it's breaking that cycle. My cycle as well as his cycle. It's like, I feel like for our kids, we've broken that cycle. Now, are their marriages going to be absolutely perfect? No, but hopefully they can be one step closer, one step better than what we had to go through. Yeah. And by visualizing.
Well, and it also, the thing that's always foremost in my head is like with my children's relationships, they're probably going to go through things as well.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
That's right.
I'm now well prepared to help, more than I would have been had I not done the work myself.
That's right. Yeah, it's something you've experienced, and you went through the work.
Right.
And now you can use that to relate to what they're going through whenever that does come up.
Right.
And not just kids. He's helped in men's group with church.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be the one that
women,
the leader picked me out and he said, could you run a table? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was, I realized, as she said, I used to talk to her about it because I'd come home from these groups and it was all broken men. And, tough guys too. They just, but at least 3 out of the 4 or 5 guys that really had some deep, deep things, I think I was able to put them in a path that was similar to mine because of my story.
Yeah. So some of the reward, if we go back to that, some of the reward is the ways that you've been able to help others in a more meaningful and impactful way because of being willing to do that deep work. So if we go back to like what might help someone get through not wanting to address the past, the reward is you can help in a greater meaning. You can relate with greater meaning. You've been through that experience and you can help guide others along the way. I'm so glad that we've spent some time on this particular topic because relationships are important. Relationships are valuable. Relationships are what help really drive the quality of our life in many, many ways. Yeah. And so that's just one area of life though. And so because we have a variety of people that may be listening today, can we touch on your military career a little bit and see what, if anything, that has carried in terms of the way you live life now? What did it mean to do a full career in the Air Force? And Nancy, I'm going to ask you the same thing because you carried a professional career in a couple different ways, actually, throughout being the glue for your family, Paul, as you described it. And so let's hear from your perspective what it was like to carry out a full military career, what maybe the Air Force taught you along the way, what values you've carried with that, how it's put you guys in the position that you are today. And then, Nancy, I'm going to gain your perspective as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's pretty easy. So in terms of the military, obviously going in, I knew nothing about anything other than I knew I had a high mechanical aptitude. Okay. And that's why they placed me in my job, which was structural maintenance, just the entire airframe of the aircraft. Okay. I loved it because I like working with my hands. So it was pretty much, it was easy. I paid attention. I excelled in everything that I did in terms of what I was doing, and made the rank. And eventually, fast forward, became the fabrication flight chief, where I had about 300 people under me.
Wow.
And it was in all the various disciplines in aviation,
Okay.
NDT, non-destructive testing, machining, things like that. All the stuff that puts the aircraft together, and aside from the engines.
Yeah.
Just the discipline. Obviously, the military, especially in the time that I was in, it was very disciplined. You had to. It was up and out kind of thing. If you didn't make the rank, they would kick you out, kind of thing. But I can say too, all that while Nancy, having the children and doing what she did, keeping the home, and then becoming a teacher, and I'll let her speak about that, and all the other things. I mean, that just allowed me to really focus on the things that I need to focus within the military. And I left often for long days, and she kept a lots of plates spinning, and me, I just was able to focus on what I needed to focus on, and it made for a successful career.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that too. And even the acknowledgement of the support, right, of allowing you to focus on that so you could be successful. But I also want to recognize that you recognize the talent in yourself, something that was coming easy to you, something that you enjoyed doing, and then really stayed invested in that. Because that's important for a lot of people to hear, is recognize where you're talented, recognize where the things come easy to you, and then continue to invest in that, pursue that, put your effort towards that, because that's where you're going to be able to get to elevate, promote, and even in your case, become a leader amongst many, many people in that same area of expertise. Nancy, what was it like trying to have to spin all those plates?
At first scary, because I grew up small town Chandler, so I hadn't gone anywhere. Then my son was 2 and I was 8 months pregnant when we got orders to Germany.
Oh,
so
wow.
leaving Chandler to go to a foreign country to deliver my second child, I was 23.
Yeah.
I was terrified, but again, the fear and being pushed out of our comfort zone, it was the biggest blessing. And we had wonderful, we called them Omano Ba. Our landlords became Omano Ba to our kids. The people, the families that we met within the military, we're still friends with today.
Outstanding.
We raised our kids together and still keep in touch. So, it was definitely challenging, but in a good way.
Yeah.
The support system that you get when you leave the military, it's almost like a loss. A lot of people have a hard time finding, because you're in this tight-knit community, but then you realize the friendships that you make are still there. So
there's so many good nuggets that you guys have mentioned already that I hope everyone's picking up on, even in terms of, you mentioned the fear that goes into moving overseas, being asked to go somewhere that you know nothing about, and really addressing that fear and getting outside that comfort zone. But then you went straight to, it became such a blessing.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure we acknowledge, these are great, really insights for people to be aware of, write down. Because we're all going to be faced with fear. We're going to be faced with going outside our comfort zone. There can be great blessing in that. But I also want to mention, when you talked about the fact that, within the military, there's kind of a system there to build a community, right? Because you're going through similar things. There's a common ground that you can all relate to.
Yeah.
And then when you're retired from the military, you exit the military, it's almost like that's gone. And yet you go, wait. But does it have to be? It doesn't have to be gone, because the friendships are still there. How are we going to now determine how we stay connected? And that's true of anyone, whether they're in the military or not. You can choose the ways that you stay connected, just because the original way that you came together may not exist anymore. There's ways to stay connected. And so I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge some of those things along the way. That way everyone listening is capturing that and applying it in their own life. Yeah. You have to invest in those.
You have to invest in those friendships, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even when we were in Germany, we traveled quite a bit with the kids. I remember one time in particular, we went to Bavaria, which was pretty far from where we were at. We were near Belgium and Luxembourg borders, which is hundreds of miles away. Even though Europe is relatively small.
Camping in a Toyota Corolla.
We had a little Toyota Corolla.
Did y'all catch that? Camping in a Toyota Corolla. I don't think I've ever heard that in the same sentence before.
Oh, it was, we didn't even know if we were going to make it, but we had the 2 bikes on the back, and we had, our tent was down below between the kids with their chairs, and we just said, let's do it. And we did it. And, and that never stopped with us ever. We
took our kids everywhere.
Everywhere we went. And I think that in of itself, connected them to us. It gave us memories that, they still cherish today.
Yeah.
And it I can see it. I can see it in the way that they raise their children. They're just very loving, and, they
family oriented.
They're very family oriented. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that didn't happen by chance. That was just, something that we did as a family, and they just carried it on, versus, the things that we had to go through growing up and having to figure out how to flip, the narrative.
Flip that script. Yeah.
Can you think of, is there any sort of story that you think would just blow people away? Like if they heard this particular story, whether it's while you were still in the military, outside the military, any from your experiences, Nancy, but is there any story that comes to mind that you're like, if somebody heard this story, it would probably blow them away, almost like you can't even hardly believe it would be true?
Probably the pizza, what we did to survive after our first child.
Yeah? Tell us about this.
So again, I was 21 when I had my first, my oldest. And I was going to college like part-time. He was working. We couldn't afford daycare. Yeah. So we decided to work separate shifts. So he worked swings from like 4 to like 11:30 at night. I was a nanny for a Southwest Airlines pilot, and his wife. So he would come home at 11. Then before we started our little side job, I would get up at 8, go nanny. He would drop our son off to me at 3, but we still weren't making it, like financially. So we came up with an opportunity where we could clean a Pistol Pete's pizza place. And so
some of you might have to look that up. Pistol Pete's.
Yeah.
Southern and McClintock.
Yeah.
And so we would come home. We would leave the house by like midnight, 12:30 every night. I would load up my son, and we had the little wind up
the cranky
swing.
One, not the
not the nice ones that they have today. It was just the little. So put him in the car.
Click.
Yeah. And then we would go every single night and clean that pizza place.
I remember when we started, it was like a couple hours, but we had that thing down to like.
It was like, at first it was like 3.5, 4 hours. And then
I think we were doing it like an hour and a half at the most.
2 hours, like we got really good.
Yeah.
Just had a system.
Well, I was going to say, you almost needed one if you're going to get any sleep.
Yeah.
But I mean, to look at what we did then, and I remember thinking, like looking at the family that I nannied for, and I would be like, we're never going to get there. We would never, like our life will never look like their life looks like.
Yeah.
And
in that moment, it was hard to see a bright future.
It was hard to see, but I knew what we had to do to move ahead, to get ahead. I mean, and then sometimes we would donate plasma. It was like anything to think out of the box to get there. And it felt like, damn, it was a lot of stress, but we did it, And
it's so sad because, and I won't name names, but I've worked with a lot of young people at Able over the years.
Sure.
And, a lot of, especially now, they tend to, not all, but there are some that they want it right now. They want instant gratification. And some I've even, made it like they were, I treated them like a son. And one instance in particular was a gentleman who wanted to buy a house.
Okay.
And, he's a smart kid. He was doing all the right things, aerospace and things like that. But even asked Nancy to be to help him find a house as a real estate agent.
Okay.
But he didn't have the financial backing to get what he wanted. So instead, he went out one day and bought a Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
A new Tesla. And I'm like, I'm like, seriously, why would you do that? I said, you know how far you put yourself back, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, his response was more, well, I'm going to at least have something nice that I, like.
Oh, yeah.
Rather, because nobody wants to give me a loan. I'm like, well, you
There's
have
ways
to
to go
work
about
for it.
it.
You have to, you just have to figure out another way and to get there. And that's sort of like, that's
Don't
been our
take
whole
no
life.
for an answer. Yeah.
That's been our whole life.
Think out of the box.
Yeah. Think out of the box. Don't accept a no. Find another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never did we intend. I mean, I think everybody intends to, want to be wealthy, but we never intended to be like in the place that we are today.
Yeah.
But I think the way we managed our lives, the way we managed our finances, didn't become leveraged. We did early on, trust me.
Yeah.
Or we've had
There's time periods, right?
Definitely.
It was like a cycle of, credit card debt, probably 40,000.
Yeah. And then
And then we would take it down to nothing, and then we'd go right back up.
Wow.
And then we finally, I don't remember how many, a decade ago or so, we said,
it's
never
20
again.
years ago.
We're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And we just made it a pact to not become leveraged in that way. And that's when everything started turning around,
Interesting that you mentioned that, because there was, even as you described that, Paul, there was a decisiveness where there was like this cycle, right? You'd have a lot of debt, you'd pay it off, but then it'd go right back up, and then it'd go back down, and then it'd go right back up until you're like, no, we are not doing this anymore.
Yep.
And then you mentioned, then everything changed.
Yeah.
So at whatever level you're comfortable, or maybe I'll push you to be a little bit uncomfortable, how can you at least paint us some sort of picture of where are you today? So if you were to describe to somebody, and let's say it is somebody that you trust, how would you describe where you are today, whether it's financially, relationally, health-wise? And the reason why I'm asking you to do that, and maybe get a little bit out of your comfort zone to do that, is because of all the things that you've shared so far. I think it would be valuable for everyone listening to get an understanding of, even with all of that, look at where we're at. So at whatever level I can nudge you to describe at some level of detail where you are today, can you paint us a picture for that?
Yeah. So we bought our first house actually, oh my gosh, we were in Washington State at the time. So 35 years ago, which was, so that was, we had our house. And then when we went through our marriage difficulties and had a separation, I bought my own house. Well, we bought my own house.
Okay.
And in a very weird sense, that became a blessing
Okay.
because that is now we still have that house and it's a rental.
Okay.
And that actually kind of has helped us with the leverage to move ahead.
Okay.
Real estate wise.
Yeah.
And then we bought another home up in the White Mountains that we use as like a family vacation home.
Okay. Thank you.
But we also use it to like bless family and friends.
Okay.
So it's not on Airbnb, it's not on VRBO, but we do share it with family and friends at a very reasonable rate to do that.
Thanks for sharing that with us too.
We also put travel ahead. Like we use travel as a big priority in our lives. So I would say every 6 to 12 months.
We do a big
trip, either by ourselves or we have family. I was just telling him, I was with my daughter this morning and we decided we're not doing presents this year.
Yeah.
Everybody is contributing to go on a family vacation next year.
How fun.
So rather an experience, because my daughter even said, she goes, God, I think back and I don't even know what I got last year. Whereas
how often does that happen, right? We buy all these gifts for people and then we forget.
We both have, our jobs are somewhat flexible where our grandkids are extremely important. So I'm very lucky with my job because I work as a flight attendant as well as a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So I try to go see, my son is the only one that's not in Arizona. So he's in Texas.
Okay.
So I go to Texas. I try to get there once a month.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a weekend, 3-4 days, to see my grandson over there.
Yep.
And then we try to keep our grandkids here as much as possible.
Okay.
But I would say we're comfortable in that we can save for the future, so that we were provided for in our older age. But yet we are comfortable enough to do the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy. And we can like give a lot to the community too. You know, I think that we share a lot with friends and family and
it's I guess we never expected, you know, we didn't plan for it actually, to be honest with you. She may have, but me, I've always just, it's going to happen. And, you know, with the career and then going into Able, I've been there 20 years now. I was able to transition and, I'll tell you a little story.
Please.
When Lee interviewed me, I think we were going on a cruise, and a gentleman that had retired prior to me was there saying, no, I need you as my program manager, and Lee wants to interview you. So on a Saturday I walk in there, and it wasn't I had my resume, of course, and you know, I wasn't wearing a suit or anything, but I certainly wasn't wearing shorts like he was and flip-flops. But
probably surprising when you walked in for the interview to see the guy interviewing you.
But I mean, I'm thinking,
like,
this is a small company, I think 100 people, and it's like,
Sure.
the guy is obviously successful. He's building this aviation thing, which ended up being way bigger than he ever anticipated. But but he asked me, going back to sort of like, what did the Air Force teach me? He we went through the resume. He obviously saw that I had, the experience, and
Sure.
I had the knowledge of all the things that they do currently in his business.
Yep.
And then he ended it by, it was like an hour and a half, and
Okay.
he ended it by saying, all right, so let's just cut to this. I want to know, what is the day in the life of Senior Master Sergeant Apodaca at work? So I would tell him, and I just, it went from, getting all the information from my night NCOs, and then taking it to the group, and then you have to take that information to the wing, and that gets all uploaded all the way up to the top levels in terms of strength.
Yep.
Aircraft strength.
Yeah.
And he said, so what do you do after all that? I said, well, it's easy. And I did. I would go to all the shops, all the 5 or 6 shops that I managed, and I would meet with all the airmen. I would let the supervisor know I'm there,
Yep.
but I wanted to know what was going on in their lives, and if there was anything I could do to help them, if they were having any issues, things like that. And he's
really
like,
remove barriers.
we're done. You're hired.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of blown away. And, I didn't even anticipate that he was going to ask me that, but it was genuine. And at that, Lee was always about that anyway. He was about genuine leadership, and, he did the rest too. He obviously mentored me in ways that, I wasn't mentored, but, some was good, some was a little bit extreme.
Is it? We take all those lessons with us, don't we?
all,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's right.
But, so, going back to how that fits us, that's just sort of like she said, it's kind of how I roll. And then, she's always the bowling alley bumpers, so to speak. I'm like all over the place. I have, what do you say? I have ADHD or something like that.
Just a little bit.
But, it's the creative part of the relationship.
Yeah.
And she's the one that just puts it all, she hears it all, even though I don't think so. And then, how about this? How about that? And I think that's really been the pinnacle of our success to where we are today. And as she mentioned, as Nancy mentioned, nothing's always perfect. There's always still quibbling and this, but it never goes beyond going to sleep usually. It's one of us, hey, sorry, shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done this, and then we just get right back on track.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that, because I'm gonna quick summary a lot of what I heard you share in terms of kind of where you are today, because that kind of puts the puzzle and puts the piece in the story together in terms of, yes, we had these challenges, we had these traumas, we even had childhood things we brought into the life that we're creating together. And today You both are in jobs that you have the flexibility to spend the time with kids or grandkids the way you want. You're able to travel, hopefully once a month to go see your son and your grandchild there. You're able to do these family trips or do a big trip every 6 to 12 months. You do that by choice. You have financial security and stability, both from a military career and also being successful in another 20-year following on career from that, as well as real estate, teaching, flight attending, and that's right. And you're also able to now share what this relationship has blossomed into over the years, where it's not perfect, but it is an understanding of what are the strengths we're bringing to the relationship, what are the understandings we're bringing to the relationship, what are our skills, if you will, what are our roles, what are our responsibilities, and there's clarity there around all of that. And so let me ask this, just to say, what do you want the future to look like? And when you see where you're at today, what does the future look like for you and for your family from here?
Sure. I mean, so we just want, the family to grow and, obviously be able to experience some of the same things we have experienced. In addition to that, we've made a pact, Nancy and I, with the grandchildren to take them. It started with our 5-year-old, our oldest granddaughter. Took her to San Diego a couple months ago for her 5th birthday. And so we want to make a pact to take our grandchildren, to somewhere fun by themselves. And then eventually we were saying every 5 years, but it's like, see, I'm 65. I mean, we got 70, 75.
And we went from 2 to 6 grandchildren.
I do plan to be 100 or more, but that's another story. Every couple of years we want to take them somewhere, when they're of age to, another country, things like that. So, I mean, we just want to enjoy our life with our children and their children.
Yeah.
And our friends, and just,
well, and you even mentioned, the freedom to do what you want to do now. And that's another area that you've experienced success. You have multiple properties that you mentioned in terms of real estate. Let me ask this question. What's important about money to you at this stage of the game, if you will, at this stage of life? What's important about money to you?
Having the flexibility to not have to be, I just remember being so stressed about it, like when we were doing all those different jobs, and thinking this is never going to end. And just being able to look back and knowing that by never giving up, we are in this place now where it provides stability and comfort.
Yeah.
And being able to, I do believe the more that you can actually give, I know it's kind of cliche. They say that the more that you give, the more you get back. But I've really found that is true.
You've experienced it, haven't you?
I mean, It's just crazy. I mean, just the little things. It is true. The more that you give, you do give back, and more, and not just always financial ways.
Right.
You get back. I mean, it's funny because I was a teacher in Washington State, and my very first years teaching, you never really know how you affect, those kids. And it was a very low income school. And probably about 2 years ago on my real estate email website, I actually got a email from one of my first grade students from back then. And she said, yeah. And so I actually have, we text each other.
Yeah.
Pretty regularly. She just texted me and said, hey, you're going to be getting a Christmas card. So super cute.
How incredible is that?
So you give, the more you give, you get back, and it's surprising ways, when times that you don't even expect it.
Yeah. There again, you mentioned we just never gave up. We never gave up, and we got to the point where we did get to experience the stability and the comfort, and even mentioning, just pouring in, just pouring in and sharing. You guys have mentioned sharing a lot in our conversation. It's obviously a value that you hold very dear to your hearts, is the ability to share with your community, share with your family, share with your kids and grandkids, share with your friends. You've mentioned the place up in the mountains, that it's there because, yes, we want to utilize it for our family, but we also want to use it as a way to share and bless others. And that sharing that you've been able to experience, it truly does really give you so much more than what you share and give.
So money gives you, I think our money today gives us a little bit more freedom.
Okay.
Where we don't have to you don't have to hang on so tight, and learning that.
You don't have that stress you used to have, right? Yeah. Paul, what would you say? What's important about money to you?
I would say obviously some of what she had mentioned about, the fact that we don't have to really worry about anything. And so we don't live beyond our means, one. So the money that we do have, it's very easy to live within our means and beyond.
Yeah.
And when I say beyond, I mean be able to say, hey, let's travel to Ireland or Greece or whatever. So we make it a point to do that so that we, knowing that let's do it now while we can.
Yeah.
But I also know that, having the stability in terms of just the jobs, the retirements, the things that I know that are coming with Social Security and investments, things like that. We're not overly doing any of that stuff, but we've done enough of it that we're very, what's the word I'm looking for? We don't have all our eggs in one basket, so to speak.
It's very diversified.
Yeah.
Diversified, yes.
Yeah.
100%. And so,
and
knowing
just start,
you just start.
It doesn't
a lot of
have
people
to be
think,
a lot.
Exactly. being a financial guy, the earlier you start, compound interest, it said it can work against you or for you.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I hope people go back and re-listen to this. And so there's a question that's coming to my mind that I want to ask you. I have no idea what it's going to turn into. But there's like a discipline that you guys have mentioned. You've put the work in. You've lived below your means at various times, and now obviously you're getting to experience some of the rewards of that. Here's the question that keeps coming to mind that I want to ask you is, however you would express, what's the level of joy you feel like you get to experience in your life now because of that? In other words, none of that was given to you. None of it just showed up all of a sudden. It wasn't like the resources were all of a sudden there and you're like, oh, good, we have our stress is down. We have nothing to worry about. You worked for it. You put in the effort. You had the patience. You did live below your means. So what, I don't even know if I fully know how to ask that, but what's the level of fulfillment that you feel like has come because of that approach, or the level of joy that you feel like you get to experience now because of that approach to all of that?
For me, it's fulfilling. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
off. No, you're good. No, 100%.
For me, it's 100% fulfilling. I mean, I don't ever think, oh, I wish I had that, or I wish I had this, or I wish I did that vacation. I mean, I'm satisfied with what we do because a lot of it is, as we mentioned, either her and I, just like the Ireland hike that we did a couple months back. I mean, it's us. It's just us doing life.
Yeah.
And at some level we share that, with our Facebook friends and
sure.
whatnot, not to brag, but.
Well, and there's always going to be, even in our friendship group, there's people that have way more than us, yep. But that doesn't, I think a long time ago we stopped chasing that.
Yeah.
We are comfortable
chasing that comparison,
because you'll never. That's what robs you of your joy. I think is when you're constantly comparing yourself to others.
There you go, dropping some wisdom on us, Nancy.
And I think this is the little piece. I think I told you the last time. My son got an early admittance to the Air Force Academy, so he got like his letter. And I think it was the end of his junior year, and he was going to a dance with a girl that he had been friends with since kindergarten all the way through. And she came over. They were getting ready to go to this dance. Both of them were very successful in school. And he was contemplating, do I want to go to the Air Force Academy or do I want a real fun college experience? Because the Air Force Academy is not,
It's not easy.
I mean, it's fun. It's not easy. It's not a party life. It's not, and I think he was having this, do I want to do this, or all my friends are going to go, the fraternities, and do I want to go that? And his little friend looked at him and she's so full of wisdom. And she said, you can play now and pay later, or you can pay now and play later.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we paid, little all along, and so now we're at a place where we can definitely enjoy it.
You can play at another level, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
Let's so I'm gonna begin to close our conversation. Okay. This has been so much fun, and I really appreciate your openness. I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate you willing to be an inspiration through some of the life lessons that you've learned. I want to ask you, and this is a question we ask of all of our guests, how would you define wealth and abundance? So, and Paul, I know you've mentioned there's a number of times you get to have conversations with people that are younger than you. So you could maybe think in terms of that context or not. But if you were to share the lesson to say, hey, to us, this is actually what life in abundance really is, how would you describe that? What is wealth and abundance?
For me, I think wealth is having enough not to go out and just spend it on frivolously on, whatever I want, like fancy watches or cars, but having enough where I can have the flexibility like I do now to spend the time like I want to spend it, to actually give into, to be a part of my grandkids. That's like super important to me, to be there for them and to feed into them. I want to be able to see them take that baton and go farther.
Yeah. I don't know why, Nancy, but I just had this visualization come over me that I just hope there's like some high school girls or some young women that latch onto what you just shared. And I have no idea why that just came over me, but for whatever reason, as you were sharing that was like this hope that just consumed me for a second. So
you don't
thanks for
need
sharing
all
that.
of, like wealth isn't, to have all the things, I think it's the abundance of joy. Like you brought up the word joy. I think it's the abundance is having joy in your heart and being able to live that each day. And again, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have bad times.
Yeah. The trials will be there.
You'll
have trials.
Will be there.
Yeah.
But just know that there's joy in tomorrow. Don't give up.
Yeah. Just know that there's joy in tomorrow. Don't give up. Thank you. Paul, how would you define wealth and abundance?
It's pretty much on track with what Nancy said. I mean, wealth in my mind isn't measured by all the things that you have. I mean, that stuff just fades. Nobody takes it with them. Yeah, as they say. I think for me, I'm older, almost 7 years older, and you come to that point in which I'm still young, 65, but at the same time,
being 7 years older, it's a good thing you're going to live to at least 100.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes she rolls her eyes when I say that. She's like, really? But I mean, I'm in a period of my life now where I am thinking about maybe ending my career at Able. I have plenty of things that are going to sustain me. But I don't want to end it so that I can just watch miniseries or just hang out at the house and, do nothing. Before I do it, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do to make my life more abundant. And if that means, doing hospice, or because I've had friends that do it and some of the stories they told me were pretty incredible, actually. Yeah. Or even just something that, gives to other people, that which would enhance my abundance and my wealth. Yeah. Beyond the money. Yeah. Beyond the money. Yeah. So that's really kind of where I'm looking at, because I think if you have that, the tenets of being a centenarian that's one of them is being surrounded by people and family and having a purpose and, all those things.
That's right. Yeah, so that's right.
That's very important to me now. where I'm at.
I sure hope that everyone has made it to this part of the conversation. This has really been a highlight. And so just to speak to all of our listeners for a moment, I hope that any of you listening, there's so many different ways that someone could connect to various aspects of your life and your story. And so, Paul and Nancy, I really do just genuinely want to thank you from my heart for the conversation we've been able to have. And my ask of any of you listening is, when you think back through Paul and Nancy's story, let's really carry this inspiration. Let's really carry it to as many people as we possibly can, whether it's through sharing this episode or simply talking to someone about topics that came up, walking someone through a hard decision or a hard situation, giving them encouragement or inspiration at a moment where maybe they're not sure if their relationship's going to work out, or they're not sure if their career is going to work out, or their kids are just giving them a hard time right now, that any of you listening, you'll come back to this conversation and allow it to inspire yourself or someone else. So share this conversation with as many people as possible, and certainly come back and join us for another episode of the More to Life Than Money podcast. Paul and Nancy, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
We enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you for listening to the More to Life Than Money podcast with your host, J.W. Rayhans, financial advisor, jw@rayhansfinancial.com. Guests are not affiliated with or registered with Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. Any information provided by guests is in no way related to Cetera Wealth Services, LLC, or its registered representatives, unless otherwise noted as a representative of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. The opinions contained in this material are those of the author and not a recommendation or solicitation to buy or sell investment products. This information is from sources believed to be reliable, but Cetera Wealth Services, LLC cannot guarantee or represent that it is accurate or complete. Securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC, doing insurance business in California as CFGAN Insurance Agency, LLC, California Insurance License Number 0644976, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cetera Investment Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. California Insurance License Number 0M15552. The views depicted in this material are for informational purposes only and are not necessarily those of Cetera Wealth Services, LLC. They should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Neither Cetera Wealth Services, LLC, nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice. 313 North Gilbert Road, Suite 200, Gilbert, Arizona 85234.